just leave it like that.
I didn't hear you.
Do I have to mute myself or I can just
No,
leave
no,
it?
no, just leave it.
Okay.
It's fine. All right, this is Smooth 98.1. Love music, love life. It is 2 minutes past 9 a.m. on the hump of the week, Wednesday morning. You're listening to the Smooth Breakfast. Ayokunmi here. And it's that time to have a conversation, Lagos. Time to get into a world of dialogue. This is Lagos Talks, where we get to have back and forth and really bring issues to the fore. It is all about you at the end of the day. We share knowledge as well. Knowledge, very, very important part of what it is that we do. Great to have you on this amazing ride. It's an interactive session, as I always say. So I'm looking forward to you sharing your thoughts, your opinions, any questions that you might have, because I want to imagine there will be a number of questions you would love to ask this morning because it's all about cybersecurity. The month of October is Cybersecurity Awareness Month. And what better way to round up the month than to have a conversation centered around that we're looking at protecting digital lives in a rapidly growing digital world. In today's world where um, digital integration has become the norm, it's normal. Cybersecurity is no longer just a buzzword, but it is a necessity for every internet user out there. And looking at Nigeria's digital economy as it expands, cybersecurity threats they grow alongside it. That is to be expected. So it affects individuals, it affects businesses, even government isn't left out of this. So, in light of this, joining me this morning is Tosin Emmanuel. He is a cybersecurity analyst, and he's going to discuss how we can protect ourselves in this very rapidly growing and changing digital landscape. Good morning to you, Tosin. Great to have you on Lagos Talks.
Yeah, good morning. Pleasure.
Absolute pleasure having you. And for you listening to us right now, you can come into the conversation and share your thoughts with us. Any questions you might actually have as well. This is a good opportunity for you to get them answered. Any myths that you might, have heard from somewhere, Tosin will do his best to dispel them 110%. So the WhatsApp number is 0809 0809 The studio line is 0201 4489981. 0201 4489981. We're also streaming on YouTube. You can find us at Smooth 981 FM Lagos. So let me just, should I say, give a backstory or a backdrop into this. So with over 100 million internet users, Nigeria has become, should I say, a hotbed for digital activity. Now, this increase in connectivity has brought immense benefits. Nobody can even deny that. But also, it has heightened vulnerability to cyber threats. Yes, they are real. So, Tosin, given the rapid growth of internet use in Nigeria, could you help us understand the most common cyber threats that Nigerians face today that we need to be well aware of?
Okay. I think let me just talk about like the cybersecurity, what it is in essence, but on a basic level, because it seems a lot of people don't understand what cybersecurity is. And when most people hear cybersecurity, they think of hacking. That's the first thing that comes to their head, hacking. Or I will even give you a funnier one. My mentor told me something one time that when she initially wanted to study cybersecurity, her dad asked her if she wants to be a security guard for a cyber cafe because because he didn't understand what cybersecurity was. And yeah, so cybersecurity basically it just involves any of the processes that we use to protect digital infrastructure, devices, and whatnot. There are like a lot of things encompassing that. But basically, the whole process of securing that and protecting it from, well, I say, unauthorized users. That's the essence of cybersecurity in general. So, of course, there are different aspects of cybersecurity. Probably, maybe if we can have the time, we can go into that. But it's all encompassing. And for your question about the common threats we face as Nigerians, firstly, we have phishing. Phishing is like a common threat Nigerians mostly face. And what exactly is phishing? That's like the name goes phishing, but this time it's not an F, it's a PH instead of an F, replacing that. So it's basically baiting someone to divulge information to you because you are like masking as something else, something the person probably trusts or would trust. And most of the time, those phishing usually come in various forms. Some come in the form of email phishing. Some come in
Mm.
form of phishing, which has to do with calls. Most of the time, most people have actually experienced this before. When you get a call saying, "I'm calling you from Access Bank. This. I need your credit card details and blah blah blah. We need you to update your BVN and all this things. Send your card details and this PIN." That's an example of a phishing call. That's phishing. So it's an aspect of phishing, and that's a very common threat. I feel like it's the most common these days. Then we have those that have to do with email, like I said. One other thing you need to know is that when these phishing kind of scams want to come up, they usually come with a sense of urgency, a sense of threat. They might tell you, okay, you have to
Yes,
do this
yes.
today or your account will be blocked. You'll not be able to pull out this money. Okay, they send you an email and they say, we need this thing to be done at the end of this or the end of that. But of course, there are always ways we can go about considering, okay, if this is right or this is wrong. When it comes to the email, we can always look through the emails. You would always find mistakes. Look through the sender of the email. If they send you a link, hover over the link. Don't click on it. Just place anywhere. You could just place your mouse there if you're using a laptop, and it will just
Mm.
bring out the link that is there, but you don't have to click on it yet. And then, of course, take note of those threats. Sometimes they always come with threats. We can go too deep. It's fishing alone is like another thing, but let's just go to the next aspect. I think we have a malware
Okay,
infections,
okay.
which is a malicious software malware, just an acronym
Mm.
basically. And malwares are basically, there are also different types of malwares. We have viruses, we have worms, we have Trojan horses, we have the most common one, ransomware, which is what most people face, where maybe you get hacked and information gets stolen, and they ask you, okay, you have to pay this particular amount for us to give you this back. That's a ransomware. And one crazy thing is that most of the time, if you actually lose your information to someone and a thief, because that person is a thief, a hacker is a thief at the end of the day. So
Yeah,
let's say
definitely.
someone steals your information and the person promises you that, oh, when you give me this money, I'll give you back. There are two things involved. Is it that they give you back, sure, with the money, but at the end of the day, they still retain that information. There's no way you will tell me they will delete it on their end and just give it to you. So there's a
Mm.
likelihood of blackmail coming up again coming up again.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then secondly, we also have the option of how are you even sure they will give you your data? Like, what if there is a thief already? What if he just takes the money and goes? What will you do? Like, you can't do anything. So obviously we have to get ourselves protected and negated in those aspects. I'm sure we'll talk about that subsequently. But yeah, phishing, ransomware, social engineering attacks where someone pretends to know you or wants to get close to you just to seek an information or steal something
Mm.
from you. That's part of it. And a host of others actually, but those are usually the most common we face as Nigerians.
Right. I'm actually glad you mentioned that we need to be aware and we need to protect ourselves because the crazy truth is that many people they believe that they're immune to cyber threats because
Yeah.
maybe they don't work in tech heavy fields. However, we've seen that these cyber criminals target anyone they think they can exploit, which leads me to ask you to share some practical ways that individuals and even businesses can protect themselves against these threats, especially from these phishing scams.
Okay, when it comes to businesses now, they can usually afford a lot more. Most businesses these days have web application firewalls, which usually helps in detecting so the mails like this and either sending them to spam, blocking them, or limiting access. There are usually tools that you can set up, mostly your firewalls, where you, will I say, limit access or block traffic generally coming in from a particular IP address. Like I remember once working at a like an organization where IPs that come from India, China, Russia, they usually block it because nothing good comes
Mm,
out. Most of the time, you get all those scamming mails coming from those kind of areas. So they usually block those kind of IPs from that region. So
okay.
those are like some aspects, and of course, bigger businesses could go as well as getting SIM solutions to be tracking whatever is going on their networks. They could have their SOC team, either in-house or a virtual SOC team. What's a SOC team? Security Operations Center, Blue Team. Those are basically the guys in cybersecurity that monitor and defend attacks. Again, that's too deep, but I'm just giving you the base level definition, because if we want to go into that, that's a lot of things. And now when it comes to the personal individuals, I think one of the things we can do is get some form of awareness, like we're currently doing now. We're actually giving out this awareness. People should actually take note of things like this, make use of, there's some VPNs I know, I'm not trying to advertise VPNs, but I know there are some VPNs that do help with detecting some kind of scam emails and stuff. There are some tools as well you can now use to copy a message you see, maybe all this broadcast message on WhatsApp that might send you a link. That's also an example of phishing. All these things that you see forwarded from 500 people, and you take it and you say President Tinubu is giving 2 million naira to every citizen, and you go and click, giving them your information. So there are some tools you can now use to copy those particular mails, messages, even on WhatsApp or Facebook, whatever, and then paste it there. And it will tell you, okay, this is a scam, this was generated by this was done by that, and all that. And as well, you can also personally, on your own, get, in terms of passwords, because what's one mistake most Nigerians make? They don't usually use the right passwords, or they don't even know how to make passwords. A lot of Nigerians are prone to serious attacks, but I think it's just that they're not ready for us yet. And if it comes up, it's going to be very crazy, because you can imagine one person having 5 social media accounts. You have TikTok, Instagram, WhatsApp, Facebook, and the rest. And in all of them, you're using one password. That's wrong. That's
But
very wrong.
so see, the country is hard enough already. Now, remembering 5 different passwords. I
Exactly.
mean, you know
Exactly.
what?
That's where I'm going to now.
We'll talk more about that. Just hold that. We'll
Okay.
talk more
Okay.
about that on the other side of a very quick break, because I was going to enter into certain myths, and passwords was one of them. So hold that thought. When we get back in, we'll talk more about that. Lagos Talks on Smooth 98.1. We'll be back in a moment. Don't go anywhere. Yeah, that whole password thing, it's hard, dude. It's hard.
It's very common. It's very common. Let me not divulge the information first. I'll still give it when we talk, but there are
But
processes we use to
okay,
remediate stuff like that.
wait. But what if I, as an individual, let's say I use one password for those 5, but the password in itself is rock
Doesn't
solid.
matter. It takes
Ah,
it takes them to hack one.
ah.
It takes them to hack one, and everything is gone. Because that person will most likely try it on other things.
Anyways, you'll come and give us the advice on what
Sure.
to do or what to do. Anyways, I'm glad you didn't mention any VPNs. I was going to say that if possible, just don't mention brands if you can avoid it. Don't
Yeah,
mention
yeah,
any
yeah.
brand.
I know that I'm not giving adverts for
When you
free
said
adverts.
when you said access back, I was like, what's he going to say? Is he going to accuse them of something? You
No, no,
know,
no, no. I was trying to say like when you get a call now, mention a random bank name, that kind of thing.
because that one and those emails, more often than not, you'll find grammatical errors. That's
Yeah,
the annoying
yeah.
thing. Those guys,
That's the
I
funny
mean,
part.
in
Some people
this,
some people fall for things like that. You will see, Google actually helps these days by sending some of those mails to spam, but some would
yes,
always filter through. But Google
yes.
helps. If you go to your spam folder, you see a lot of
I see.
messages,
I
especially if you're
saw.
in crypto. If you're in the
I saw
crypto
a number
space,
this morning in my
yeah.
spam that I haven't deleted yet. I'll still
There are a
get to
lot
it
actually.
eventually.
Yeah, there are a lot.
Welcome back to Lagos Talks. This is Smooth 98.1. Love music, love life. The Smooth Breakfast, 17 minutes past 9 a.m. on a hump of the week, Wednesday morning. My name is Ayokunmi, and we are talking all about cybersecurity this morning. Cybersecurity Awareness Month October is Cybersecurity Awareness Month, and we're running up the month. just bringing this very much needed knowledge and information. That's what we're all about, sharing very, very pertinent knowledge with you. And of course, we learn from each other. And it's what we're talking about, protecting digital lives in a rapidly growing digital world. My guest this morning is Tosin Emmanuel. He is a cybersecurity analyst, and you can ask your questions this morning. Any questions you might have, any confusions you might have concerning cybersecurity, this is an opportunity for you to get them addressed. So all you need to do is to send a message on WhatsApp on 0809 444 0981. You can also call the studio line. That's 0201 4489981 0201 4489981. And if you'd rather send a message, you can do that on WhatsApp on 0809 0809 444 Let's take our first call of the morning. Hello, good morning. Oh, please do well to call back. 0201 4489981 is the number. We'd love to hear from you and, of course, get your thoughts this morning. All right, Tosin, welcome back into the conversation. Okay, before we jump back in, let's try this again. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, Ayokunmi.
Very good morning to you.
And good morning, our guest.
Yeah, good morning.
Welcome, Soji. Talk to us.
Very grateful that we have the knowledge of all these scammers. But what are the service providers, the network, doing about them? They know them, even to an extent. I call one of the service providers, one of the networks, to inform them that why can't they block or go after them or report them to the police or to the security outfit so that they can go after them. Even ban. Why is it that nothing is ever done? Is it an encouragement or so? Are they encouraged to be doing this scamming or scamming people or defrauding people, getting money from them? Is it an encouragement to them or are they aiding and abetting them also? What can our guests say concerning this aspect? The ISP, the service provider. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for sharing your thoughts there, Soji. I mean, Tosi, listen to what Soji just said now.
Yeah.
The service providers, the banks, why can't they go after them? What I mean, are they doing enough in that regard? Are they, should I say, encouraging them to continue in their activities? What can you say to that?
Okay, I think sometime in September, I got to speak at a conference in Abuja. And in that conference, we had representatives from the police, the NCCC, the Nigerian Cybercrime Division, which I'm sure a lot of people don't know that exists actually under the police, although it's a new development. But the policeman asked a question there, and he said, how many times do we actually, as persons, come back to report incidents we get? Let's leave the ISPs now, we'll talk about them. But personally, do we actually take these phone calls, these numbers now, and go to the police and say, okay, this particular person called me for so thing or that, you get, or you go to the EFCC and say, okay, this person, because that's most of the time, the person is trying to commit a financial crime. So
Right.
this person did so and so thing to me. At least have it in your records, even if you're not chasing the person because maybe the crime wasn't successful, but you have this person's details in your record. Now, that question was very, very right, because a lot of people do not do that. They just, if anything, we even see it online on TikTok, and everybody's posting it as jokes where you are joking with the scammer online instead of you to like actually do something about it or report it. When it comes to the ISPs now, they have the point of privacy, customer privacy. So regardless of the fact that somebody is calling you to scam you, the person still has his own, will I say, privacy and rights as well that cannot be trampled upon. I don't know if you're trying, I'm not saying the person is doing is right, but it's just like when you say innocent until proven guilty or somebody commits a crime, the person still has human rights. So based on those rights, you can't just, will I say, they can't just send the person's information like that. You hold that responsibility now to go and report this particular incident or this particular information. Now, when it comes to the banks, there's a huge issue of insider threats, which is another aspect of cybersecurity threats. We have insider threats where someone in that organization would actually be selling out people's information. This happens. It has happened. I know a friend who works in a bank. Of course, I can't mention names, but I know a friend who works in a bank who told me one time of a particular co-worker who they caught, who was scamming persons by, once she opens an account for you or gives you an ATM card, a new ATM card, she takes the details, front and back, whatever, everything. And of course, she has your password. Or not that she has your password particularly. She uses most of all these vulnerable people that don't really, like, that she can usually assist and say, let me help you. So in that case, she's seeing you type out your password. You understand? So she gets your password. And sometimes they don't even necessarily need it. There are ways where they don't need it as far as she have the other details. But most of the time,
Really?
yes, most of the time she was in a position where she could actually see that your PIN, I was calling it password, sorry, your PIN, your 4 digits, 1002, 20, all those things. And then she was able to send it across to her person who was ending up scamming people, stealing money. And I think she did it for up to 3-4 months. Her plan was to use the money and leave the country, but she was caught.
Just imagine.
You get. So we also have some other forms of insider threats where, and this has happened to me personally, where I opened a bank account. That very next minute, or let's say 20 minutes after leaving the bank, I'm getting a call. Hello, you just opened a bank account with so bank. We need you to send us these details. Since you just opened it now, there's no point in you coming to the bank. Just send us this.
You just opened this account. Come
It happened
on.
to me. It happened to me. Just 20
Wow.
minutes. And so I think I was even back in school then. I was in school. So I was with my friends and the call came in and I'm like, what's this one? Who is this person? And then I wasn't really so much into cybersecurity, but I had an idea that this was not real. So I said, okay, the bank is just close to me here because it's inside the school. Why don't I just go to the bank? And they said, oh, no, you're our customer. We don't want to stress you. You can just come down to the bank. At the end of the day, like I said, there are those forms of insider threats that usually happen. And trust me, when these banks get to find about it, they usually sack those individuals. They leave them on their riches. Sometimes they get prosecuted. It all depends. But one thing you would always understand is that sometimes because of the reputation of the bank or the organization, they will likely want to give out information that, okay, this kind of thing happens inside. So you may not hear about it, but it actually happens.
And it's dealt with.
Yeah, it is.
In the background. But, talking about these emails and anything, there's nothing that can be done about that. Or is there a way that can be stemmed from maybe the size of the bank? Is there anything that can be done? Or it's at the discretion of the individual receiving these emails?
First of all, most of us use the popular email address, which is Gmail. And Gmail now has a function. It has a function where there is a web application firewall involved that usually looks out for most of all these spam emails. There are AI. This is the advent of AI. There's AI now that can read through those emails and usually sends them down to spam. So that's another example of mitigations there. So you can send it down to spam, and you won't necessarily see that this set of scam emails came towards you. So another thing about that now is that you personally as an individual should be educated. Not when I say educated, I don't mean like book education, but like educated in this aspect of awareness to understand that, oh, this is what this looks like. This is what that looks like. Look through, again, I said, like, look through the origin of the mail. Where is it coming from? If you're supposed to get a mail from Smooth FM, and then you look at the origin of that mail, or maybe the person is telling you, oh, hi, I'm your manager at Smooth FM, and you need to update these details, or your account will be terminated, you will not be paid a salary, you need to censor something. At the end of the day, if you click on that place, you should be able to look and say, okay, this email is coming from the right source. You get like, this, but this. When you now look at the email like origin and you're seeing something like John Bosco at thing, you can know that, okay, this is not right. Another thing as well, which we always advise to do is to confirm, if possible. If the person that is sending you the email is someone that you should know, always try to, it's just a simple text on, oh, did you actually request for this? Because this is unusual. You get, and the person says, oh, I did, or I didn't. You get, so it's always good to have that second form of connection or communication to find out if that actually originated from that person.
Some kind of 3-factor authentication.
Yes,
if we can put it not to 3-factor authentication.
Multi-factor authentication.
Multi-factor authentication. Yes. And still talking about that. Let's talk about passwords, because that is one very, very big issue. Now, there's this myth that strong passwords are actually enough to protect individuals from, cybersecurity threats. I mean, it's essential, but it definitely goes beyond passwords. Now, that's one myth. Now, let's talk about passwords, Tosin, because from experience, and I can speak for myself, and a lot of people can actually raise their hands and say, I'm guilty of this. We have multiple accounts for different things, social media, and so on and so forth. But because we don't want to have to remember so many different passwords, we just have one quote unquote strong password and we use it across board. Is that the best practice? And if not, what can we do? Because Nigeria is hard enough to start thinking about, oh, this password, that password. What can we do? Help us out here.
Okay, I like that question because it's actually very important. Yeah, of course, a lot of people make that mistake. You called it a myth. It's a myth, actually, thinking that one password saves all. That's not it. It's not Lord of the Rings or the Rings of Power. We have one ring to control all of them. That's not the case. So, first of all, it's good to have strong passwords. That's important. I will explain what a strong password is, but it's good to have strong passwords. But at the same time, you shouldn't have one password on multiple accounts, because all it takes is one breach. Once one account is compromised, that attacker is obviously going to try that password on your other accounts. And once he succeeds, Okpari, it's gone. Everything
Game
is
over.
gone. It's gone. Like, there's nothing you can do. And of course, most people make the mistake of not even setting up multi-factor authentication, 2FA, as you mostly know. A lot of people say, oh, my WhatsApp was hacked, my Instagram was hacked, but your 2FA is turned off. It's not actually on. There's nothing that is 100% secure at the end of the day. That's another myth. Nothing is 100% secure. It just takes one day for. There's something we call zero-day attacks in cybersecurity. Attacks that have never previously been seen, and then all of a sudden, maybe an attackers try every day. Some of these attackers, their interest is not even money. They just want to see, can I destroy something? That is their aim. Can I destroy?
Can you just imagine?
Yes. So
that is all they're after.
They just want to prove to themselves that they can. They have all the time in the world. So let's just destroy something. And if they are able to do that, maybe with a particular pattern that has never been seen before, has never been noticed before, there's advancement in technology every day. If they're able to do that, then automatically that's a zero-day attack, because it's an attack we've never seen before. And those kind of things now can always, bring up issues like that. Of course, there are ways we can go about that, but that's actually one of the issues people face. And when it comes to passwords as well, what do we consider a strong password? First of all, we should usually advise to use passwords between 8 to 12 characters at least 8 to 12 characters. Of course, some platforms might limit it to 6 characters and all that, but most likely we always recommend 8 to 12 characters, of which it should involve capital letters, it should involve small letters, it should involve numbers, it should involve
special
symbols. Yes, symbols, special characters, and all this. Personally, I like using a comma in my passwords. The comma is always like a very important aspect of my passwords. I love using that because there's something it actually does over there, like concerning some kind of attacks and the rest. But a comma is always very, very like common for me. I love using a comma in my passwords. And again, now, one thing is when you're having those passwords, if you feel like you cannot remember these passwords, all of them, don't make the mistake of writing your passwords down. That's a big mistake, because once someone sees it, it's gone now. Again, it's gone. And again, unless you're going to lock it in one safe somewhere in Geneva, Switzerland or something, but that's not the case, obviously. So please don't write your passwords down. If it's preferable to use password managers. We have so many password managers. Let me just say the one that you don't necessarily need an advert for. Google Chrome. Everybody uses Google Chrome, and Chrome has a password storage most of the time where you just as far as you're on your Chrome, or the only password you need to know is your Gmail password. Once you have your Gmail account password, you have your 2FA set up, your Chrome can store as many passwords as you want. So whenever you want to log in, you can always find them on Gmail. The iPhones we use as well. Most of the time, we have this passkey on iPhones now where once you use your Face ID, you don't have to type a password anymore. The Face ID just stores all the passwords on your Apple iCloud
and then unlocks.
Unlocks immediately. So we can use things like that where those particular things can help in that.
All right, interesting thoughts there. We need to take a break. There's a couple of messages that have come through. I'll take them when we come back in and, of course, continue the conversation and begin to piece everything all together. This is Lagos Talks on Smooth 98.1.
Do we really have just 8 minutes left?
Yeah. Ideally,
That seems very small.
Ideally, we should be going till 10, but because the sponsors decided to take the last 15 minutes, nothing I can do. Now then they pay. Bro, he who pays the piper takes the tune.
Takes the tune, exactly. Yeah. There's a lot to talk about in cybersecurity, though. It's a very big space.
Yeah, it is. It is. It is. I mean, this short time is not enough, and it's something that's even till now Nigerians are still struggling with. Yeah. Especially older people, they're so vulnerable.
Yeah.
But the thing is, with constant education, like my dad, for example, if he sees anything funny like this or something that is
always come back to you.
I saw this thing, no, and I'm like, don't worry, it's nothing, or
exactly. Yeah.
You know, but many people, anything they see, press, anything they see, click.
You know, even down to, are we back?
Yeah, we are. Yeah.
Okay, even down to, okay,
all right.
I could actually give this as an advice.
All right, welcome back to Lagos Talks, Smooth 98.1 and the Smooth Breakfast. We love music and we love life. We love good conversation as well. And this morning isn't any different. It's all about cybersecurity in Nigeria. We're looking at protecting digital lives in a rapidly growing digital world. You can be a part of the conversation by sending your thoughts in, any questions you might actually have, because this is a platform to actually learn. 0809 444 is the WhatsApp number. You can also give me a call or give us a call on 0201 4489981. Drop a comment on YouTube. We're at Smooth 981 FM Lagos. Tosin Emmanuel is my guest. He's a cybersecurity analyst. Welcome back in, Tosin. Let's take a few messages that have come in. This is a message from Tonye from Lagos Metropolis, and he says, interesting topic, and he needs to ask, should one be concerned when one repeatedly gets calls from strange countries in Eastern Europe, especially when one doesn't know anyone there? That's a very good one because I received calls from different places, Algeria, Saudi Arabia, Bangladesh. I've received calls from different places, and I wonder who is calling me from
Sierra Leone, and the rest. Those are actually scam calls. They don't actually know you. They can just pick an area, pick a certain set of numbers, like Nigeria +234. They start with 81. This. They will call. It's an automated system. So just keep calling all these numbers, and their aim is to charge you a billing rate. And if you pick up that particular call, your account will actually be charged like your phone bill. Although in Nigeria, we don't use that kind of this thing. We mostly use prepaid, not postpaid in terms of call. In terms of calls, we usually have to recharge our airtimes ahead of time. It's not a country where you be owing a bill or something. But most of those countries where they owe bills or they have bills, when they make those kind of calls and you pick them, you usually be charged the billing rate, and some part is supposed to be given to the people that initiated the calls. So that's their aim. They want to just get money. That's just it.
So basically, whenever we see those calls plus something, and we don't know anybody in those countries, do not pick those calls.
There's no issue. It's not as if they have your number in the database. They're just running through a list. It's not about you.
Okay, I'm just hoping that I'm just hoping that somebody picks up.
Yes,
that's basically.
That way, if you notice the number, they don't call twice. They just call, and that's it.
Once, yes, that is true.
It might take a couple of months. So maybe you might get the chance where they call twice, but it's not common. It's not common. They'll just call, and you see it, and it's gone. That's it. Sometimes it doesn't even ring to the end. They just flash you, and they want you to initiate the call. That's
interesting. Okay, Tosi, thank you for opening our eyes up to that particular. When I'm talking about opening up our eyes, there are gaps and challenges when it comes to Nigerians being aware of basic cybersecurity practices. There's a lack of formal training and educational resources as well. Time is not on our side here, but looking at the challenges that we have, how can individuals who don't have the technical knowledge begin to cultivate cybersecurity awareness and digital safety practices? The average Nigerian out there who is not an analyst like you are, I mean, what can they begin to do to cultivate that awareness and safe practices?
For safe practices, of course, we've spoken about the usage of strong passwords. We've spoken about using password managers. These are some form of examples. We've spoken about the aspect of awareness, getting trainings, which is what we're doing now. I think we've been able to talk to some people about phishing. So a lot of people are better informed now about what usually happens in a phishing attack and how it usually occurs and how to identify things like that. So informations like this are very important. And another important part is always update your applications. There's a reason why they are giving you an update. It's usually security patches. Some people say, I beg, I don't have this data. It's the day it will happen to you that you will realize why you need that data. Sometimes you don't necessarily need an antivirus as well. Like if you say you can't pay for an antivirus and it's too expensive, fantastic, fine. If you're using a laptop, obviously, that's what I mean. Your Microsoft, keep updating it. Your Windows, because your Windows Defender is actually always updated with the regular threats. There are platforms we have as cybersecurity personnel or people in cybersecurity where we go to upload issues or vulnerabilities or stuff that we see. And so most of the time, these big companies like Google, Microsoft, and Apple, they usually go there, see what is going on and try to create a patch to ensure that that kind of vulnerability doesn't happen to them. So it's always important to update your systems, update your Defender. If you're using an antivirus, update it. Just keep on updating these things so they can actually be kept along with the modern times, basically. Yeah, so those are some ways I feel we can protect ourselves. Also, like I said, getting trainings. There's nothing bad in getting a lot of information as well. Do not share too much online. Don't share too much information online. There's a particular, I don't know, time is not on our side, but there was a particular incident that happened once where they were trying to get someone, the person's full name, and they just went to his Twitter because they knew his Twitter address, and they just searched the word giveaway. And this guy had actually requested for or dropped his phone number somewhere for a giveaway. And when they checked that phone number, it was an account number actually, but it's an OP account. So they just took that OP account number, pasted it on this thing, and his full name came out. And when they had his full name, they were able to go and check his details and things like that. So it's always important to know all those people are chasing giveaways online. If you do, please delete it after posting, because that's just one aspect. There are a lot of ways people give their information online. They can do something crazy and say, oh, who was born on May 31st. My birthday is May 31st. I can give her that information. Who was born on May 31st? And you go and I was born on May 31st. At the end of the day, you don't know why they're asking that question. Maybe they are somewhere where they need that kind of, they ask that kind of question from you. So they need it. I think even Google most times requests for your date of birth. So sometimes they might use that as a security question. And so people can go there. There's some that will say, okay, who has owned a dog before? What's the name of your first dog? You go and answer.
They're fishing for information and details of the individuals.
What's your favorite sport? What's your favorite sport? Lawn tennis, football. Fantastic. They're taking it. So all these things are records that they are collating.
Interesting. So let us limit the amount of information we spread on social media platforms. It's very important for our safety at the end of the day. Let me take a message, which is, I like this message because it's actually coming to where I was going to run up the conversation. Okay, there's no name, but it says, hello, Tosin, I'm in my 30s and trying to pursue a career in cybersecurity. Is this feasible? And how useful is the career in Nigeria and in Africa? Now, this leads me to my final question for you, Tosin, as we leave this conversation. For those who are listening, like this fine gentleman who didn't indicate a name, how can they get across to you on your social media, where they can send you a DM and just talk to you, pick your brains to see how to move forward?
Okay, I'm on Twitter at Tosin. I think I told you a funny story. The day I changed my name to Tosin on Twitter, I was hacked. I couldn't believe my eyes. I couldn't believe my eyes. The day I changed my name to Tosin, I was hacked. But yes, you can find me on Twitter at Tosin, LinkedIn, Emmanuel Tosin Ademakin. But Twitter at Tosin. Do I have to answer the question of the person requesting for?
Look, well, I'm guessing he'll send you a DM and you can
Okay.
have that conversation because we really need to end the conversation right here.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Tosin Emmanuel, for joining me this morning. It's been very enlightening in the space of time
Let me
that
give you a
we've
little
had.
bit of advice. Just one 30 seconds.
All
For the
right.
Gen Z and millennials who are actually like tech savvy, we can help our parents, guardians, older ones by actually educating them as well. We can do
Hmm.
that. So because most of the time they will be vulnerable to things like this. So we can help them. If possible, set up your email as a recovery email for them. So once
Okay.
maybe their account is trying to be compromised or whatever, because how many times do they log in somewhere? Some of them don't even remember their passwords. Once you're trying to, like maybe your account is trying to be hacked, you will actually get a mail on your own email as the,
Hmm.
like say, primary email to say, okay, so person was logged in. Are you aware of this? So it's always important that we do that for them. That's one way we can actually help them. So I wanted to just drop that.
All right. Thank you for that final nugget of wisdom, Tosin. Do have yourself a great Wednesday and a great rest
Oh,
of the week
thank
as
you.
well.
Enjoy Lagos.
Indeed, we will. Indeed, we will. All
Yeah,
right. Thank you for
thank
being a
you.
part of Lagos Talks this morning. Keep it tuned to the show because we're having a conversation with Providus Bank in a few minutes. Wondering what it is we're going to be talking about. You need to keep it tuned to Smooth 98.1.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so
Thank
much, brother.
you very